Hello there, viewers. I'm the Knight of... Wait, just one moment. Got to make some changes, and done. There, much better. I'm the Knight of Arcane, and happy Halloween! With today being the last day of Spooky Month, I wanted to originally do something creepy, but didn't have the time for it. I did, however, still wanted to work with something creepy, and decided SCPs would be the inspiration. This idea then came to me of, what if I turned some SCPs into Spider-Man? It's been a fun challenge and concept to draw with the past two Ben 10 ones, so I decided to do it for today. Along with that, I've decided to give this series Narrator, and hope you like them. Anyways, let's check out our SCPs as Spider-Man, shall we? Good evening, members of the Spider Society and viewers for these videos. I am Adara Yume, aka Dreamweaver from Earth 3932837. I have been tasked by the Society's leader, Miguel O'Hara, aka Spider-Man 2099, with sorting through the files on not only the other members of the Spider Society, but also other known Spider-Men and women out in the Spider-Verse, and to make these documentation videos to help inform members, but we all know who's really watching these videos. Anyways, taking it from the top, we have from Earth 1471, Mallory Hal, aka Mal Webb. Earth 1471 is a universe where humanoid life evolved differently, where everyone takes on physical features of animals from birth. Though not full furry, as some would say, mainly stuff like ears, tails, claws, and sometimes fur, scales, and feathers, along with enhanced senses commonly found in animals. Back on track, Mallory was born in New Hal City, coming from a lupinoid family, and was pretty social. However, she started to take an interesting fascination with more creepy, macabre, and even gothic things, leading to many finding her weird and disturbing, especially since she would talk about these topics with a smile and a hyper attitude. Her parents tried to discourage these interests, but her Uncle Mark encouraged her and helped her find interesting items for her creepy collection and wardrobe, along with taking her to creepy areas below New Hal to explore and check out. These interests never brought her down, and she tried to tone it down since she liked being social, but it only led to her having a few friends when starting high school: Mary Katzen, Miles Prowlis, and Ben Wiley. One day, though, her Uncle Mark took her to another creepy place under New Hal, some abandoned subway tunnels that happened to be right underneath Oscorp, and leads right into one of their labs. The two walked in, believing it to be abandoned for some time, before they heard animalistic howls and roars. Taking cover, Mallory and her uncle found Oscorp's lead scientist, Otto Octavius, who was like normal Doc Ock, but with actual octopus tentacles instead of normal limbs, conducting mad experiments on both a scrawny jackal person and a heavyset rhino person. The two were petty thieves that Octavius had kidnapped for his experiments, currently working on making them more bestial and savage, hoping to make them even stronger and quicker than before. The experiment did work, their heads becoming beast-like and their skin changing to match. Mallory and her uncle watched in horror, Mark trying to call the cops but had no signal, neither noticing as a spider came down onto Mallory's shoulder and bit her. The shock of the bite made Mallory scream a bit in fright, causing the mad Octo Doctor to notice the two intruders and ordered his beastmen to get them. The two lupinoids ran, but the beastmen were on their tails, so Mark got the Rhino one to attack some old support columns, causing the old subway to start collapsing. However, while it stopped the beast from chasing him, Mark himself got caught in the collapse. Mallory rushed to get help, collapsing as she did, and waking up in a hospital with the news her Uncle Mark died. However, this wouldn't be the only change in her life. The spider that bit her was another of Octavius's experiments, and the radioactive venom it acquired through it caused changes in Mallory, allowing her to shoot webs from her wrists, stick to and climb up walls, and give her what we call through the Spider-Verse a spider sense. Soon after this, reports came in of a new drug going through the streets of New Hal, turning people into beasts for a few hours, with some losing control and going on a rage. Knowing Oscorp would never let her just tell the police what she saw, she donned a costume with a bone aesthetic and a skeletal mask, and took to the streets as the web-slinger heroine known as Malweb. While a member of the Spider Society, she focuses on her own universe, unless needed for her enhanced tracking abilities. But when she is around, she creeps out even the freakish of our members, even Spider's man. Though, I for one find her unique charm and advanced knowledge of human anatomy to be quite stimulating. Coming from Earth-173, the sculpted spider is quite honestly an anomaly to the Spider Society. No one knows who he really is, or what he looks like under his mask. He just appeared one day in our base, standing in a corner, seemingly bored, with no one knowing how he got there, and never seeing him before that day. We only know he comes from Earth-173 due to our go-home machine scanning his DNA, but still leaves the other questions about him, with no answers given when asked, since he refuses to talk. We do know a bit about his abilities, however. His skin seems to be hard like stone, not too much unlike the Thing's own skin, but somehow his forearms are actual stones. Though unclear if his upper arms are fused with the stone forearms, or if his DNA turned his forearms into actual stones. Though neither idea gives us any explanation why there are rebar poles sticking out of them. Speaking of rebar, he carries 2 long rebar poles on his back, using them for close-range attacks, similar to the superhero Daredevil. Of course, he has other basic Spider-Man abilities, with the main difference being his webs, which come out orange and act like a concrete mix, quickly hardening after leaving the sculpted spider. However, he seems to have one more strange ability, one that only works when no biological eyes are looking at him. When no one is looking at him, the sculpted spider is seemingly able to teleport at high speeds, closer to their target to attack them or to even cocoon them in webs. The speeds he's able to reach makes no sense, though if multiple people are looking at him, he's unable to activate this ability. But even if someone blinks, he's able to reach these speeds. Cameras were unable to pick anything up, even when slowing it down frame by frame. He seems to just be one place at one moment and another the next. Miguel did bring him into his office to talk with him, but no records are logged about what the two talked about, with only Miguel saying it was fine and giving him the hero name of Sculpted Spider. Many theories have spread across the society after his appearance. One member suggested he was made to combat against a serial killer that could disintegrate people as long as no one was looking at them. Another came up with the theory they were bit by a spider with the DNA of the Thing, but it somehow turned him into a golem. One thinks he's just a classic creature from this internet thing in their universe called the SCP Foundation, somehow taking life in another universe. And it was even suggested he's just a weeping angel knockoff. These are all just theories. A spider theory. And Miguel has even ordered that no one is allowed to enter Earth-173, except for very limited personnel, including himself. The sculpted spider has since mainly been seen in the corners of the Spider Society and rarely seen on missions. However, when a report says he's been on a mission, especially a solo mission, one must raise an eyebrow and wonder just what is up with the sculpted spider. This one is a bit of a stain on the history of the Spider Society. The Hanged Spider Tragedy. Real name, Peter King, of Earth-701. This Peter, unlike most other Peters in our Spider-Verse, is not a nerd, but a theater kid. More interested in performing Shakespeare and acting than science and gaming. His best friend and crush, this universe's MJ Watson, was interested in science, and was able to convince him to join her on a trip to Oscorp, their school set up. This, however, led to the two getting bit by two very different spiders. The one that bit MJ was more like your standard radioactive spider, and gave her the abilities most often seen with us, while Peter's was quite different. While he did have the enhanced abilities and senses of a Spider-Man, Peter's body was also altered to secrete pheromones that, when smelled or make contact with someone through his sweat, causes the person to panic and start attacking other people, including comrades and friends. The first recorded instance of Peter's pheromones being used was an accident, done during a rehearsal for his school's performance of Hamlet, causing the cast to attack themselves. Peter and MJ were able to use their webs to stop the other students and try and figure out what happened to Peter and how to control it. MJ was at least able to figure out a better way for Peter to control it, and the two found out how to use it for their advantage against foes by causing them to attack each other, weakening themselves, and allowing the two spider people to detain them. They soon caught the eye of the Spider Society, but only one would be allowed to join. Peter offered to stay in their universe and allow MJ to help the threats that happen across the Spider-Verse. Little did we know at the time, this should have been a red flag. While MJ was a bit too busy, I was tasked to keep an eye on Earth-701 and report how Peter was doing. At first, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. He started to act a bit like a showman, but wasn't that much of a surprise. However, reports soon came in of criminals going missing, and later being found in abandoned theaters, brutally killed by each other, with the criminals dressed up like they were performing a play, with one always hanged in the center of it all. Even the notorious villains like Tombstone, Electro, and Mysterio were found dead at these performances. However, it was after the death of Wilson Fisk and his family, reenacting Titus Andronicus, that the Spider Society decided to get involved. MJ led the investigation as it was her universe, and got backup from Spider Noir, Malweb, Spider Blast, and myself. Peter told us he couldn't find any clues about these deaths, but something seemed off to both MJ and myself. As luck would have it, there was a recent crime scene found, with the corpses being about an hour old, and we were able to find traces of sweat on the bodies, not belonging to themselves, and pheromones in the air. At that moment, Peter tried to run, blasting his pheromones at us. MJ and myself were able to dodge them, while Spider Blast's flames kept the pheromones from affecting him. But Spider Noir and Malweb got hit, and started to attack us. I had MJ go after Peter while I tried to subdue our allies with Spider Blast. It took us too long, and as I went to follow, I found MJ on the ground, dead due to a fall from the rain that had started during the chase. Unfortunately, Peter not only fled the scene, but the universe. And now the spider villain that calls himself the Hanged Spider Tragedy is on the loose, and must be found at all cost, before he can take any more lives. Our last spider person for the day is one, while not affiliated with the Spider Society, does seem to have the interest for the protection and order of the universes at large. Or at least we assume based on their actions. This being we simply call the Webway Guardian, and was first encountered early on during the formation of the Spider Society, by a team led by Miguel chasing some criminals that escaped their universe, led by Mr. Negative. The villains were stopped in their travels by the Guardian, who stood in their path at 100 feet tall and carrying a flaming sword in its hands. While it never said a word, reports say the villains were soon angered and started to advance towards the Guardian, when it suddenly swung its sword, faster than even the Spider-Men there could react to, and annihilated the villains from existence itself. When our agents went closer to the entity, the Webway Guardian was enveloped in a flash of light and shrunk down to a still impressive 7 feet. The 4 Spider-Men there all reported they heard a single word in their minds at that point. Leave. One seemed ready to challenge the Guardian and step closer, when Miguel stopped him and told them to head back to base. They did, but Miguel stayed. No reports were made on what went on between the two, but when he returned, Miguel was pale and told everyone if they ever come across the Webway Guardian to let it be. Multiple logs have reported instances where the Guardian has shown up both between the universes and on Earth at various sizes, and has either helped to restrain a threat or to completely annihilate them. However, there are many instances where the Guardian has been seen in multiple areas and universes at the same time, with it unknown if they're super fast, traveling through time, or just able to exist at multiple places at the same time, though no answers have been given by the Guardian, and most likely never will be. We are not even sure where the Webway Guardian is from, so no Earth can be assigned to them, though we have reports of them blocking off the entrance to one universe, but have orders not to go anywhere near it if we value our lives. That is all the time we have for today. If there are more Spider-Men you're interested in hearing about, submit your requests down below. Have a good Halloween, and if this is watched on a different day, then have a good day. And that was SCPs as Spider-Man. It was a fun idea that I'm glad crossed my mind, and hope to do more of these in the future, with Dreamweaver here as our narrator. But what did you think of them? Let me know in the comments, along with other SCPs and characters I should turn into Spider-Man, other things I should turn SCPs into, and any other ideas I should try out. If you liked this series, I recommend checking out the 2 Ben 10 aliens as Spider-Man, or to coincide with the FNAF movie's release, you can check out my videos where I turn FNAF animatronics into either Mandalorians or JoJo stands. And if you liked what you saw, leave a like, and subscribe to join our growing little Arcane town to be in the know for future videos, as we creep to our next sub goals at 800 and 1000. Would be very impressed if we can reach even the former before the end of the year. Anyways, thank you for watching, happy Halloween, and I'll see you all next time. Later!